of Wisdom of Nagarjuna, Etienne Lamotte. Composed by the Bodhisattva Nagarjuna and translated by the Tripitaka Kumarajiva of the land of Kucha, under the later Sin. Translated from the French by Galongma Karma Migmi Chodron 1. Chapter 35, The 9 Horrible Notions. Sutra. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva must cultivate the 9 notions of the horrible. 1. That of the bloated corpse. 2. That of the torn-up corpse. 3. That of the bloody corpse. 4. That of the rotting corpse. 5. That of the corpse turning bluish. 6. That of the devoured corpse. 7. That of the scattered corpse. 8. That of the corpse reduced to bones. 9. That of the burned corpse. Sastra. First section, the 9 notions according to the Abhidharma. I. The position of the 9 notions. Question. It is necessary first to have cultivated these 9 notions and be free from desire in order to then attain the jhanas. Why does the Prajnaparamita Sutra speak of the 9 notions here after having dealt with the jhanas and the absorptions? Answer. First, the sutra spoke about the fruit of retribution, which is the jhanas and the samapattis, in order to encourage the yogin's heart. Although the 9 notions are horrible, the person who wants to obtain their fruit of retribution must have practiced them previously. How to meditate on the 9 notions. Question. How does the yogin meditate on these 9 things, the bloated corpse, etc.? 1. Reflection on death. Answer. First, the yogin observes pure discipline in order to have no regrets, and thus he will easily find the meditation subjects to destroy the enemies that are the negative emotions, lust, etc. He thinks about a man on the very day of his death. The words of farewell that he speaks, the outbreath which does not return, and, immediately afterwards, his death. The family is in turmoil. They weep and invoke the heavens, saying, "Just a moment ago he passed away. His breath is no more, his body is cold, he is no longer conscious." Death is a great calamity. It is impossible to avoid it. It is like the fire at the end of the kalpa from which there is no escape. Thus it is said, when death comes, neither rich nor poor, neither benefactors nor criminals, neither nobles nor lowly people, neither old nor young can escape it. There are no prayers that can save you, there are no tricks by which you can escape, there are no stratagems to free you. There is no way to avoid it. Death is the place where one leaves one's attachments forever. It is hated by all, but no matter how much one hates it, no one can escape it. The yogin says, "Soon my body will be like this, no different from a piece of wood or stone. Therefore, from now on I must not covet the 5 objects of enjoyment, and I must not think of the coming of death like oxen and sheep. Even when these animals see a dead animal, they leap about and squeal without taking anything into account. I, who possess a human body and differentiate between beautiful and ugly, must seek the ambrosia of immortality." Thus it is said, having the 6 faculties, the human being is complete, his knowledge is clear and his vision is keen. But he does not seek the Dharma of the path. It is in vain that he has received body and knowledge. All animals also are able to free themselves from the objects of enjoyment, but they do not know how to cultivate the good in view of the path. The person who has acquired a human body but who only devotes himself to licentiousness and does not know how to develop the good practices, how is he different from the animals? The beings in the 3 unfortunate destinies are incapable of accomplishing the deeds of the path. The person who has obtained a human body must look after his own interests. 2. Vilohitakasamjna. The yogin goes to a dead body and sees this corpse bloated like a leather bag blown up by the wind and quite different from what it was originally. He feels disgust and fear of it and says to himself, "My body too will be like that and will not escape this end." In this body a sovereign consciousness governed it, saw, heard, spoke, committed wrong deeds, won merits and used it as it pleased. Where has it gone? Now I see only an empty house. This body had fine features. A fine waist, nice shoulders, long eyes, a straight nose, a smooth forehead, arched eyebrows, and all these beautiful things troubled men's hearts. Now I see only a swollen thing. Where has its beauty gone? The characteristics of man or woman, they too, are unrecognizable. Having made this meditation, the yogin condemns any attachment to lust. Indeed, this bloated sack of rotten excrement is detestable. How could it evoke any lust? 3. Vilohitakasamjna. With the heat of the wind, the corpse gets bloated and lies on the ground, split open and broken up. The 5 viscera ooze forth excrement, urine, pus and blood, and a repugnant liquid appears. The yogin grasps this notion of the torn-up corpse and compares his own body to it, saying to himself, "I too, in the same way, contain all these horrible things. How am I any different? I was very foolish to allow myself to be seduced by this fine skin, a simple sack of excrement. Like moths flying into the fire, I coveted bright colors without knowing that they burn the body. At last I have seen this split and torn corpse in which the male and female characteristics have disappeared. Everything that I was attached to is nothing but that." 4. Vilohitakasamjna. When the corpse is torn up, a jumble of flesh and blood spreads out. 5. Vinilakasamjna. Sometimes the yogin sees some blueish, yellowish, reddish or even, under the sun's heat, blackish, spots on the corpse of a flogged man. Grasping all these signs, the yogin contemplates them and says to himself, "Then how is the purity and beauty of the red and white colors to which I am attached different from these?" 6. Vilohitakasamjna. The yogin soon sees these bluish, yellowish, reddish and blackish spots which the birds and beasts have not devoured or buried or hidden, putrefy. All kinds of worms develop in it. Seeing all of that, the yogin says to himself, "Once this corpse had lovely colors. The body was smeared with fine makeup, dressed in superb garments and adorned with flowers. Today it is no more than a rotten mass, torn up and putrid. That is its real constitution. The former adornments were nothing but deceptions." 7. Vilohitakasamjna. If the corpse has not been burned or buried but abandoned in a deserted place, it is devoured by the birds and beasts. The crows tear out the eyes. The dogs share its hands and feet amongst themselves. The jackals and wolves tear up the belly, and the corpse is completely torn to pieces. 8. Vilohitakasamjna. The pieces lying on the ground are more or less complete. Seeing that, the yogin feels disgust and says to himself, "This body, when it was not yet torn to pieces, was an object of attachment for people. Now that it is torn to pieces and scattered, it no longer has its original characteristics and only the pieces are seen. The place where the birds and beasts have devoured is appalling." 9. Vilohitakasamjna. When the birds and animals have gone, when the wind has blown it about and the sun has heated it up, the tendons become detached and the bones are scattered, each in a different place. The yogin says to himself, "Once I saw the bodily elements, the combination of which formed a body, and I was able to distinguish a man or a woman. Now that the corpse has been scattered in